Okay, this repair is for 1999 or 98 through 2005 Dodge Grand Voyager and pretty much any other Dodge product equipped with the 3.3 liter V6 engine. There is apparently a common problem on this engine that Chrysler is aware of and everybody's aware of, but Chrysler just won't fix, and that is they've equipped this car with a serpentine belt that falls off by itself. The technical bulletin says the serpentine belt will fall off of the V6 engine, the 3.0, 3.3, and 3.8 liter engine when the car is driven through the snow and rain. Well, I guess you can't drive this car through the snow and rain. If you notice, the front of this pulley has a rounded edge on it, which pretty much causes the belt to fall off. And the company puts that on their cars. The obvious pulley, which is sold as a repair item, has not a rounded edge, but an extra edge on it, on the front of the pulley, so the belt won't fall off. This has been done on cars since the Model T. However, for some reason, they've designed it so only a repair mechanic in a dealership with a lift and specialized tools can reach the nut which attaches the pulley tensioner at the rear. There is no bolt on the front. There's only a pressed in stud. So you have to find your way under the engine with the car jacked up and somehow reach the nut behind that tensioner, which is hidden far, far inside the engine. So that's what the repair is all about. The repair part costs about between $150 to $250, and this is not an easy repair. Okay, here is the Gates Rubber Company 38379K enhancement kit, which is sold to solve the horrible problem on Chrysler V6 engines, where the belt, the serpentine belt, slips off of the original pulley. The original pulley does not have this ridge on the edge, the front edge of the idler pulley and the tensioner pulley. Cars since the Model T have had a ridge on power belt pulleys to keep them from falling off. So what you're buying for $150 is that ridge right there. What comes in the kit is the idler pulley, an idler pulley bolt. It's a 15 millimeter hex head bolt, and a new tensioner. You really don't need a tensioner. All you need is these two pulleys. The problem is with this tensioner, if you notice, the bolt doesn't screw in through the front. You have to put it on the engine and go way deep inside the engine, find the nut that secures this stud onto the front of the engine. There is no bolt, there's no hex head here. All right, it's just a stud that's pressed in. So that's what you get in this kit. And we'll take a look at how to install it. Okay, here we are, way back behind the engine. There's the oil pan. To find this nut, I'm shining the light on the nut right there, which is behind the pulley. The only way to get this is with a foot-long extension. You have to go in there and pull it off. So that's next. Okay, here is the old pulley as it's on the car. Notice it's got a rounded edge on it. There's the new pulley tensioner assembly. Notice it's got a ridge on it to retain the belt. Here's the nut. That nut takes a 15 millimeter socket, and the only way you're going to reach that nut right there is with a foot-long extension. So if you got a foot long, use it. If not, you can put 3 or 4 smaller extensions together, but you have to have a universal joint on there also to catch it. Okay, so way down here is where the new tensioner assembly goes. Notice that there's a small hole here molded into the bracket, and the purpose of that hole is to accept this this indexing piece that holds it in place. So let's lay this into place where it belongs. All right, so I've got the new part in place. It's right there. Notice that I've used an old mechanic's trick here and stuffed a towel here between the front face of the pulley and the engine side of the engine compartment. That's to keep the part in place, because I don't have a second set of hands today to be up top holding this part into place while I bolt down the piece from underneath. You can just see the stud, the threaded stud, coming out the back right there. So the next step is to somehow get the 15 millimeter hex head nut back onto that. And to do that, I'm going to use the universal extension. Okay, so for the purpose of clarity, that's what your extension and the universal joint are going to look like as you're putting the nut back on. Just a question at this time of tightening it down. Replacing the idler pulley is much easier than replacing that tensioner and the tensioner pulley. The bolt that holds in the idler pulley comes in from the fender side, and it's also a 15 millimeter hex head bolt. Last but not least is the question of getting the belt on. The Serpentine belt is very difficult to install on this car. The reason is that the tensioner pulley here is in a really bad position. Not only that, the distance between the bolt on the tensioner pulley and the fender well is very tight. So it's very difficult to get a ratchet in there or anything else. So I found the only tool I could use to get the job done easily is to make up my own tool. This is a 15 millimeter ratcheting box end wrench with about a foot of nylon cord taped onto the open end. What you do is you place this on the bolt, the 15 millimeter bolt. It's on the end of the tensioner pulley. Run your belt over all of the rest of the pulleys, even the idler here. Put it all around except leave it loose on the bottom. This is the crankshaft pulley. The reason is, while you're pulling on this, you're underneath of the vehicle, you can get your hands on this pulley very easily, and this pulley also has a very shallow ridge on the end, which means you can fit the belt over. So you pull down on this It gives you a very long stroke compared to other tool arrangements. And while you're pulling down on this, all you need to do is work that belt. Even a tight fitting belt will go over the bottom of that pulley, which you're looking right at. So for me, that's the only way I could finish this job. Good luck. If you do this job yourself, you'll save yourself about $500.